Hi, and welcome to the November online community update for Mixing Babies and Business. I'm your podcast and event host, Amy Lynch, and I just wanted to share an update as we go into season 3 of the podcast and the last few years of managing this community and sharing resources for parents who are interested in entrepreneurship, flexible, and remote work with kids. So how it all started was when I became a parent in 2016 and started bringing my kids into business settings, and I became an accidental activist. I then started hosting parent-friendly pop-up events and speaking on the topics of how to make business spaces and programming more inclusive for parents. Since then, I've released the podcast starting in 2020. So season 1 was released in November 2020. Season 2 started in February 2021. And now I'm preparing to release season 3 in November 2021. And how it's evolved over the past year and a half is I have been interviewing parents who are also business and community leaders and asking them how they've adapted their workflow during the pandemic and sharing, asking them for tips and advice on anything they would have wished that someone would have told them prior to becoming an entrepreneur and a parent, and how what they're working on right now will hopefully impact the future that their kids will grow up in. So as you can see, I'm currently also expecting baby number 3. So how it's been going is very slowly in the last few weeks and months, but I'm really excited to get ready to share these upcoming interviews with you and the community. But before those are released, I just wanted to remind you how you can connect with Mixing Babies and Business. So I have an Instagram and LinkedIn page. The URLs and handles are all linked there. So you'll see you can sign up for the bi-weekly newsletter that goes out on Fridays, and I curate business opportunities, funding, industry news, and events for parents interested in business topics. And you can also tune into all the previous podcast episodes at that link there. So mixingbabiesandbusiness.com/podcast. I'd love to learn more about yourselves though. So how you can connect with the community is through social media and by subscribing to the newsletter, listening to the podcast, but you can also send me an email through those mediums. And I'd love to know a bit more about you and your family, your work priorities in 2021, your future plans for 2022, what you're building, what you're working on. And if you wanted to look up any previous posts or topics, you can just search for the hashtag Mixing Babies and Business. So season 3 will be starting to be released this Friday, November 5th, and it'll run up until the holidays, so December 24th. I release mini episodes every week on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I split up my interviews into shorter episodes so that they're under 20 minutes each. I've interviewed 4 guests who are parents and also entrepreneurs. I think between them and myself, there's something around 14 or 15 kids between the 4 or 5 of us. So the first interview will feature Jennifer Harper, who is the founder and CEO of Cheekbone Beauty Cosmetics Inc., and she is based in the cosmetics industry. Adonica Shaw is the second interview that I conducted, who is the founder and CEO of Wingwomen, which is a platform for women focused in the health and wellness industry. My third interview is with Jane Downs of Jane Downs Finance Talent and Part-time.ie, and Jane works in the finance and recruitment sector. And my final interview is with Rashmi Surdesh Pandey, who is a children's author and works in the publishing and creative industries. So I'm really excited to launch podcast season 3 soon and share these stories with you. You can tune into the podcast at mixingbabiesandbusiness.com/podcast. And I also wanted to thank the Startup Community Empowerment Fund, which is presented by Startup Canada, MasterCard, Sovereign Insurance, and UPS. Season 3 has been kindly sponsored by that Empowerment Fund. And I also wanted to thank you for listening, for tuning into this video, but for also listening to the podcast. Here is a screenshot of a few of the platforms that you can access the Mixing Babies and Business podcast on. And I'd love if you would subscribe and leave a review because it helps other parents find the podcast too. So thanks for listening. I look forward to sharing more with you soon, and best wishes for the rest of 2021.